Hello, everyone, and welcome to my live tarot Q&A. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'll just take a moment to introduce myself. So my name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl, and I've been reading and teaching tarot. Well, I've been reading tarot for about 17, 18 years, and I've been teaching tarot for about, I want to say 14 or 15 years. And I am absolutely passionate about learning tarot and teaching tarot. And so I thought I would do a Q&A on my channel for anyone who wants to ask me any questions about tarot. Now, I don't know how many people are going to be here because I didn't really advertise this Q&A very much. I just kind of put a couple of little things out there. So I feel like it's going to be a really small group, but I think hopefully lots of people watch the replay. So if you're here, say hello in the comments. Yeah, okay. So if you have any questions for me about learning tarot, about giving readings to yourself, or anything tarot related, or any questions for me personally about my own journey with tarot, feel free to post. Hello, Hyperboreezy. Hello, Zion. Brittany, hello. Okay, so Brittany, you said, what are your favorite kinds of questions to ask? All right, I'm going to put your question on the screen. All right, what are your favorite kinds of questions to ask? When I'm doing a tarot reading for myself, I love to ask open-ended questions. So a close-ended question would be like, what's going to happen tomorrow? Or like, should I do this or should I do that? Or is this going to happen? Those are like close-ended questions because they can kind of be answered with like one word, one or two words. They don't really invite exploration. But an open-ended question really invites more exploration. So when I'm doing a reading for myself, I like to ask more open-ended questions. So some examples of that would be, like, what do I need to focus on this week? Or how can I be more creative with this particular project? Or, what kinds of things should I be focusing on? How can I be more creative? How can I have more energy this week? Those are all kind of open-ended in that you can really explore those questions more fully, if that makes sense. All right. Before I actually get into all these questions, I want to let you know about a couple of things. So I'm going to do Jessica's question next. I love that question. So I'll do your question next. I just want to let you know about a couple of things that I have coming up. So the first thing I have coming up is I have a free tarot workshop happening on Tuesday. It's called 3 Secrets to Tarot Confidence, and I'm going to share my 3 top tips, my 3 secrets to feeling more relaxed and more at ease when you're giving another person a reading. So that's a free workshop. It happens on Tuesday. There will be a replay, and I'm just going to share the sign up link. So if you want to sign up, I'm going to put it in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, I'm going to put the link just below the video and in the comments. And then the other thing I wanted to let you know about is I also have an upcoming 4-week course, which is not free, but it's a lot of fun. And it's called The Daily Tarot Girl's Guide to Reading Tarot for Others. And that actually starts next Saturday, so pretty soon. So I'm going to share the link to that as well if you're interested and you want to check that out. And I'm going to tell you more about that course a little later, but I want to get to some of these questions. Okay, so there's the 4-week course. Posting it now. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do Jessica's question next. Okay. What inspired you to read tarot, and what is your favorite card? Okay, my favorite card is probably the Star. I also love the High Priestess, and I like the Hermit. Those are my top 3, but my number 1 is probably the Star. I love the Star because to me, the message of the Star is to take a deep breath and just trust in the process of life. Stop trying to micromanage everything. Just trust in like the overall flow of life and kind of step back and surrender and let things kind of take their natural course. I'm the kind of person who sometimes struggles to do that, so I like that reminder in a reading when the star comes up. So that's probably my favorite card. Plus, I like the fact that she's if you look at the star, it's a naked woman and she's like at the side of like a pond or a lake. And I just love that. I love being outside, naked under the stars in a body of water. I just think that visual is great. So your other question was what inspired you to read tarot? So I discovered tarot during a time in my life where I was in a lot of upheaval. I was kind of between jobs. I was unemployed. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I had a couple friends that were really into tarot. And I always thought, oh, tarot seems so mysterious and kind of bizarre. It seemed like this almost like a not forbidden, but like this really mysterious thing. And the idea that you could like learn this mysterious, mystical thing by reading books and practicing was so alluring to me because I thought, oh my gosh, like imagine learning this really cool thing that's like really mysterious that not a lot of people know how to do. And I think that's what drew me to tarot. So that's what inspired me to learn tarot. All right. So thank you, Jessica, for your question. Hello, Michelle. Welcome. And Zion, you asked the same question. What inspired your tarot journey? So good. I just answered that. Hello, Gary. Welcome. Oh, Zion, you're in my 4-week course. Yay. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the thing that I'm most excited about with this upcoming 4-week course, the part that I think people are going to like the most is that you're going to get lots of opportunities to practice your skills on other people. So I've got 3 different live events on Zoom where you can show up and you'll practice on other people, multiple people in, an hour and a half time frame. So I've got a couple or 3 events like that throughout the course. And then there's also a private Facebook group. And I'm going to give all kinds of different exercises and stuff to encourage you to reach out and connect with other students in the class and practice. And even if you're not in the Facebook group, I can also connect you with other students in the class. So there's going to be lots of opportunities to really practice your reading skills if that's something that you're looking to do. Okay. What was a recent tarot realization or new understanding that you've had? Oh, I feel like something happened the other day. I was reading tarot and I had this shift. And at the time I was like, oh, I've got to share this with people. This is really interesting. And now that I'm being asked this question, I can't remember exactly what happened. But the thing I love about tarot is that I like to say tarot is like an onion. Like there's so many layers to it. And there's never been a time where I've felt like, oh, now I know everything there is to know about tarot. There's nothing left to be discovered because there's so many interesting layers to learning tarot and different directions you can go with it. And I feel like I'm always having these new epiphanies and discoveries about the cards that feel really interesting. So yeah, I wish I could give you like a really specific, I think I'm always learning new ways to look at certain cards and new ways to kind of relate to certain cards. And I get this sometimes from listening to other people talk about tarot and listening to other people read, but every now and then I'll be reading a card and then all of a sudden I'll just have an idea about a card and think, oh, I never looked at this card from this perspective before. And it just kind of gives me a deeper understanding. I think a realization I've had about tarot, and this isn't a new realization, but it's an important one, I think. At some point in my tarot journey, I realized that all the cards kind of depict different things that we go through on our human journey. And I've experienced most of the cards. If you look at the cards as a reflection of different life stages or events or happenings in your life, you can start to see how the cards are kind of like a mirror for your own life. And for me, that was a big realization when I finally had that. I'm like, oh, now I get what tarot is all about. Okay. Did you have any backlash on reading tarot? Like religion? And if so, how do you handle that? So I had no backlash, absolutely no backlash whatsoever. So I am very fortunate to live in, a community and a part of the world where I think most people see tarot as just this kind of quirky, mystical thing, but that is relatively non-threatening. And I know that there's people, various religious people who don't like tarot, might have a negative view of it, but I don't feel like that's the majority of people in the place that I live. And my family and friends were always kind of supportive and interested in my tarot journey. And so I didn't have any pushback. I did have a couple of family members who were religious who made comments, for sure. Uh, and I just kind of ignored it. So that's how I dealt with it. I think it can be challenging if, you come from a religious family and you're in that kind of environment where everyone around you, it seems like they really don't like tarot or they feel threatened by it in some way. I my advice though would be like I never try to like convert people or convince people that tarot is great. Like if someone doesn't like tarot, I might just share my own experience with the cards. Like I was having a conversation with someone not too long ago, and he's like, I've always been freaked out by tarot because I'm really superstitious and I feel like tarot is something you just don't want to mess with. Like you could really run the risk of like opening a can of worms if you start pulling cards and things like that. So he's like, I've just always like, I don't want to touch tarot. I don't want anything to do with tarot. Like it just really freaks me out. And so I just shared my own experience. I said, yeah, that's interesting. I, never had that background. So I never felt that way about tarot. And I've been reading tarot for a long time. Never really had a bad experience with tarot cards. And I said, I feel for me, it's just something that can be fun. It can be helpful. I get really interesting insights when I do readings. And I just kind of talked about that. And I don't know if I don't think he changed his idea of tarot or anything like that, but I just like to share my own experience with reading tarot as opposed to trying to like convince someone that tarot is not scary and not a bad thing. Because sometimes when people get really fixed on their beliefs, it's kind of hard to change their mind. So I don't break a sweat trying to trying to do that. Thank you for that question, by the way, Zion. Um, all right. Well, welcome, Scott, Scorpio Sun. Welcome. Oh, okay. Jessica, you said, do you read Lenormand fortune telling cards and oracle cards too? So I do have a lot of oracle decks. I haven't read with oracle cards in so long, and I love oracle decks. But in the last few years, I've really started to gravitate more to tarot cards for some reason. But when I was first learning tarot, I had just as many oracle decks and I used them just as frequently, if not more frequently than my tarot cards. I have a few Lenormand decks that have been sent to me, and Lenormand intrigues me. I've read a little bit about it. I know it's supposed to be, Lenormand, for those of you who don't know, it's a totally different system of card reading, and it's supposed to be more simple and more direct than tarot. I don't know how to read Lenormand. I'd like to learn at some point, and I know it's not as involved as like learning tarot. But yeah, I don't read Lenormand. I don't know how. Okay. Okay. Hello, Meredith. Welcome. Okay, Kim. How do you answer a yes no question in tarot? Okay. So a yes, no question. Someone earlier, I think the first question was, what kinds of questions do you like to ask? And I said, I don't like asking close-ended questions. I like asking open-ended questions. A yes, no question is definitely a close-ended question. So when I'm doing readings for myself, I tend not to ask yes, no questions in my readings. Only because in the past, when I've done that, I haven't usually found those readings to be all that helpful for me personally. But lots of readers love asking yes, no questions. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. I just don't do it myself. How do you answer a yes, no question? There's a few different ways. So one way is you could, if your question is, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. If you're trying to make a decision on something, let's say you're trying to choose between A and B, you could draw a card for A, like what's possible if I choose this? Draw another card for B, what's possible if I choose this? Or you could draw 3 cards for A and 3 cards for B, and then compare and contrast and explore those cards. But if you're asking a yes, no question, usually what I do is so what you can do is you can designate certain cards in the deck as being yes and some being no, and then the rest of the cards are going to be neither yes or no. So for me, I think of the aces as being yes cards, and then cards that are really positive, like the sun, the 10 of cups, the star, the magician. I think of those as being yes cards, and then no cards would be like the tower, 5 of cups, things that kind of are more negative or kind of disappointing looking. And then you could ask your yes, no question and see what kind of a card comes up. And if your deck might give you a yes, might give you a no, or it might not give you either if you have one of those in-between cards. All right, so the angel Jess. All right. You've been following my channel for a while. Thank you, Jess. And finally took the leap and started my own YouTube channel as a reader. Any advice for reading for a collective on YouTube? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I've got lots of advice for that. Yeah, so reading for a collective, so reading for like a group of people or like a general reading that's going to apply for whoever happens to watch your video. It is a little different than reading for just one person or reading for yourself. What I like to do sometimes before I do my reading, I'll just sit for a minute and I just kind of set my intention for the reading that, whoever happens to stumble upon this video, there will be some message in there for them, some part of it that resonates for them. It's kind of like, I don't know a lot about astrology, but I think of like collective reading videos. It's kind of similar to reading your horoscope for the month, right? And it's like my sign is Virgo. My sun sign is Virgo. And so sometimes I'll read my horoscope. And of course, every Virgo out there isn't going to necessarily resonate with what they read, and everyone's going through different things. It's not like everyone who's a Virgo is going to have the exact same experience that week. But it's just kind of a fun thing. And there's usually like one part of a horoscope that kind of makes sense and kind of is interesting to me. So I think when I upload my weekly forecast videos, I think of it in the same vein as like those little weekly horoscope or daily horoscopes, in that I don't take it super seriously. And I think also I'm in my readings, I'm not like super, super specific. I kind of keep it fairly general. And I like to talk about like different ways a card can show up. So it's like for some people, this card, the tower, for example, let's say the tower comes up. It's like for some people, the tower is going to symbolize change and upheaval. Some of us might experience that in a more minor way. Some might experience it in a major way, and kind of describing kind of different ways that a card can show up. So yeah, that's my advice for you. So good luck with your channel. Okay. I'm having trouble connecting to the Hierophant card. Any tips? Yeah, so the Hierophant card, I'm going to get the Hierophant card out here so we can have a look at it. The Hierophant card is a really tricky card to connect with, and I can relate in that I have also struggled from time to time to connect with this card. So bear with me while I fish this card out of the deck. But yeah, the Hierophant is a major arcana card, and I think some people dislike the Hierophant or have a hard time connecting with the Hierophant because the Hierophant kind of seems like he has this almost domineering kind of energy. Now, what the Hierophant represents, whenever I'm looking for a card in the deck, it's always like the last card I stumble upon. Something I've noticed that happens. So the Hierophant is all about institutions, like basically a structure outside of yourself. Some sort of, usually it's like some kind of hierarchical structure. So it could be like a government institution. It could be the education system, something like that. I also feel like the Hierophant represents maybe not necessarily education, but it represents like a tried and true way of doing things. Like think about religion, organized religion. A religion has, a set of rules. They have a set of rituals and beliefs. It's this kind of system that you can, if you're a member of that religion, you kind of plug into it. And now you have kind of a set of rules to follow, a set of rituals to perform, and beliefs to believe in. Here we go. Here we have the Hierophant. So there's benefits to the Hierophant, and then there's benefits, and then there's downsides to that. The benefit is that sometimes we just need some sort of structure or path or plan to guide our lives. I mean, I think of like taking a course in something is kind of like this, right? Let's say you want to learn tarot and you sign up for my course, and I give you kind of a structure or a formula for doing readings. And I give you practices and exercises. It kind of puts you in, there's like a structured path that you can kind of plug into. And it can be beneficial if you're learning something new rather than just trying to go it alone and figure things out. So that's the advantage. Another advantage of the Hierophant, and I'm hoping that by pointing out the good sides of the Hierophant, I'm going to help you connect with this card. So another great thing about the Hierophant is it represents like an old tradition, something that is kind of tried and true. Think of it as like the well-worn path. And sometimes when you follow the well-worn path, the advantage is that lots of people have gone before you, and there's going to be lots of experts on that path that you can consult with. So you're going to be supported, as opposed to just bushwhacking and going off and forging your own trail. Now, I think of the Emperor as being a trailblazer. He forges his own path, whereas the Hierophant is about taking the well-worn path. Now, one way to connect with cards that you struggle to connect with is look at the card and ask yourself, how does this card show up in my own life? So one question you could ask with the Hierophant is, what relationship have I had to institutions in my life, whether that's religion, education, the government? What relationship have you had to institutions? And when it comes to taking the well-worn path, how do you feel about that? Is that a choice that you typically make, or is that something you dislike? And also, what do you not like about this card? What about the Hierophant gives you the creeps? For me, it's like there is this energy of like following someone, following rules, doing what someone else says. So the Hierophant's holding his hands up, and it's almost like he's like, follow these rules, do as I say. There's something creepy about that I don't like. So I think it's good to like acknowledge the things you don't like about certain cards and why you respond that way to them, and that kind of helps you connect with them. That was a good question. Thank you. Okay. These are good questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Was there any part of your tarot journey that was challenging? Maybe interpreting specific cards or anything else that may have made you feel stuck? Oh, so many things on my tarot journey have been challenging. Like, so many things. Um, I would say the first thing that I felt challenged by with tarot was just the fact that there's so many cards to get to know and to learn. So many different cards. That was like the biggest challenge. But I got there. I learned the cards. And the other thing that I found challenging with tarot is that there's so many things to learn. There's spreads, there's tarot meanings, there's learning all the suits, learning how to shuffle the cards, lay them out, how to do a reading, what kinds of questions to ask, all the different ways to interpret the cards too, because the cards aren't straightforward. It's not like every card has this like fixed meaning. The meaning is going to change depending on what you're reading about and where that card appears in the spread and the other cards that appear in the spread as well. So that for me was really challenging too. The fact that tarot, I think at first glance, tarot looks like it's going to be this simple, straightforward thing that you can just learn. Like, oh, I just need to memorize the readings and then I can do reading, or memorize the card meanings and then I can do readings. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, well, actually, it's a lot more loosey-goosey than that. It's a lot more flexible. And it's not tarot. Learning tarot isn't the easiest thing to pin down. It's not just a matter of memorizing the meanings and then you're good to go. So I think that's been that was a struggle for me initially, but also there's something freeing about that. So I think that's what there's a part of me that hated that part about tarot, and there's a part of me that loved that part about tarot. So I think that's why I've been so enamored with tarot for as long as I have, because it appeals to a certain part of me. And then it's unappealing to another part of me, if that makes sense. The main thing that made me feel stuck with tarot, I think my biggest challenge of all was in giving other people readings. So I don't think I ever really felt all that stuck in my tarot journey when it came to reading for myself. I always had fun with that. I always got helpful tidbits of advice and information from the cards when I did self readings. But when it came to reading for other people, that's where I felt very challenged for a very long time. So the biggest challenge for me was nerves, getting nervous, giving other people readings. And even if I felt like I knew all the cards inside and out, I would still get nervous about giving someone a reading. That got in the way. And then having like reading for people, and some people would love the reading and be very positive, and other people would not love the reading, or they wouldn't really give you anything. Like, you're like, do they like this reading? Is it resonating? Isn't it? They'd just be sitting there stone-faced. That always threw me. And then having people ask these wild questions that I wasn't sure how to even respond to with the cards. Like, how do I even begin to read about that? Those were all things that would kind of made me feel stuck with my tarot practice. And I took a break from reading for other people for a while, for over a year. And in that year, I really missed giving readings for other people. So then when I got back into it, I made it my mission to figure out, okay, what is keeping me stuck? What is making me not enjoy giving readings for others, and how can I overcome that? And it was actually through doing that work that I created my course. This is a natural segue into to promoting my course here. So that's actually what made me create my course, Reading Tarot for Others, is because I learned from all my mistakes and I figured out how to have more fun giving other people readings, because for the longest time I wasn't having fun. I get stressed out, I doubt myself, and I figured out a way. It took me a really long time. It took me actually quite a few years to figure out what I needed to change and what I needed to do in order to be more relaxed, confident, have more fun with my readings. And what's interesting is when you are more relaxed and when you're having more fun giving readings is those readings tend to resonate more with people, and you actually have a better chance of giving a really good, really helpful reading to someone when you are feeling relaxed and confident and when you're having fun with the cards. And I guess I'll plug my course here. If anyone wants to sign up for my course, it's starting soon. It starts on May 3rd. It's a 4-week course. And I'm going to put the link in the comment section if anyone wants to check it out. Okay. So many good questions. Oh my God. Okay. I'm actually going to just scroll down to the bottom. I was doing them in order, but I think I want to kind of go from the bottom here. Yeah. So Elena, welcome, Elena. I hope you're still here. You do the best tarot card descriptions. Thank you. I hope you continue to do videos on the minor arcana. Yes. I'm taking a very short break because I'm teaching a course. So I'm going to be promoting that over the next couple weeks, but then I'm going to dive back into the minors. So I think I only have a couple videos up for the minors, and stay tuned because I'm going to jump back in with that series. And hopefully over the spring and summer, I'm able to bang out videos on a more consistent basis, like one a week. That's my goal. That's my plan. I'm glad you're enjoying those videos though. Oh, Maria, you signed up again. Yay. Oh, and I should mention, if you've taken my course before, Tarot Reading for Others, you get to do this next round for free. So you don't have to, you can retake the course again with me. You don't have to pay. So I hope, Maria, that you didn't pay. If you did, I'll refund you. So yeah, you get to take it again for free. So yay. All right. The Angel Jess, you said, I'm super excited for your workshop this weekend. Yes, it's actually not this weekend. It's Tuesday. It's on Tuesday. But I'm excited as well. And for those who are just joining, I'm going to be teaching a free tarot workshop. It's called 3 Secrets to Tarot Confidence. It's a live workshop. The workshop portion is about 30 minutes, and I'm going to walk you through different exercises. I'm going to get you reading the cards. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to go by super fast. And then I'm going to open the floor for Q&A afterwards. So if you want to sign up, it is free. It happens on Tuesday, and I'm just going to put the link in the chat here. I'd love to see you in my workshop. Okay. Do you get, this is from Gary, okay, do you feel emotionally drained when giving readings? Not usually. So I have learned a bunch of different techniques and skills when I'm giving a reading to someone who is maybe going through a difficult time or their questions are very intense. I have a bunch of techniques that I use that prevent me from getting drained. This is something I touch on in my course quite a bit, but there's different things that you can do. And I guess that's not what you're asking. You're just asking, do I feel emotionally drained when giving readings? Typically, no. So I do a little, it's like a shielding meditative technique that I do before every reading, where I kind of build an energetic shield around myself. But it's so I can, when I do readings, I do my readings remotely, typically. So I don't do a lot of in-person, face-to-face readings. Typically, I do more remote readings. And I need to be able to connect with that person's energy to be able to do the reading, but I don't want to take on that person's energy. So it's kind of an interesting balance to strike. It's like you want to connect with that person energetically to do a good reading that's going to resonate with them, but you don't want to like take on their issues and their energy so that it drains you. So I do that technique, that meditation. So most of the time I do not feel emotionally drained when I'm giving readings. Now, having said that, I only do readings for other people twice a year. So I do it for about a month in the summer and a month in January. The rest of the time, I focus on teaching and creating content. If I were to do readings all the time, maybe I would start to feel emotionally drained. I'm not sure, but because I just do it twice a year, I feel like I get in and I get out, and I don't find it draining. That's a good question though, because I know that some readers do struggle with that. I think that I struggled with that in the beginning, a little bit, and I think what was happening is I was putting pressure on myself to fix people's problems, and I was, like, putting pressure on myself, like, "Oh, I gotta do a reading that helps them fix their issue or solve their problem," and that would make me feel drained because that's a lot. It's a lot to do. Okay, oh, I like this question. Scott, how did you get to 60K subscribers? Yeah, so I recently just hit 60,000 subscribers. So Scott, you've been going for 3 years and you're just over 2K. Well, you're doing really good. I don't think I have a secret. I started my YouTube channel in like, I want to say 2013 or something. I don't think it was 2012. I'll have to look. I've had my YouTube channel for probably like at least 12 years, I think. Um, so that's the secret. I've been doing this for a really long time. I feel like I want to give you better advice than that. I think being consistent is also really important on YouTube. And right from the start, I've been consistent. So I have uploaded at least one video per week for the last 12 years or so. The secret though to being able to do that, sometimes I will batch my content, like with my tarot meanings videos that I do on the majors and the court cards and stuff. I will actually film 2 or 3 in the same day, and then I'll just like drip them. So that's, one tip I have. And being able to create content that's easy to create has been what's allowed me to have my channel for as long as I have and to be able to consistently upload things. So my reading videos are easy. My weekly forecast videos are really easy for me to create. I usually the camera's just on the cards, it's not on me. So I don't have to do hair and makeup. I can wear my pajamas or whatever. And I don't edit the videos. So there's no editing involved. And I do it all in one take. So it's quick. It takes me, 10 minutes or whatever to film, and then I upload it. And so because it's easy, I don't have a hard time doing it every week. I see some people's YouTube channels and they have these like really professional looking videos where they've done a lot of editing and stuff, and those take a lot of time. I would never have been able to be on YouTube this long if I was doing those kinds of videos because I would have burnt out probably in the first year. So I don't know if any of that was helpful for you, Scott. I hope so. Good luck with your channel. Okay. And I think the secret to succeeding on YouTube is make it fun for yourself. Like it has to feel enjoyable for you. It has to feel fun. It has to be what's that word? Sustainable. Like it has to be something that is sustainable, not something that drains you. So creating content that you want to create, not just what you think other people want you to create. All right. Have you had any readings that have given a sense of foreboding or something curious that plays on your mind? Yes, and this is super dramatic. I did do a reading for someone years ago, and I had the feeling that they were going to die soon. And it's the only time that's ever happened to me. I normally don't get real strong feelings of foreboding, typically, but I did then. That was several years ago. I did a reading for someone, and they did get the death card. And I don't normally see the death card as being about actual death. I see it more as symbolic. It's about a change, it's about a new chapter, it's about letting go of something or whatever. But in this particular case, and I can't remember the other details or why I thought this, but in this particular case, I thought, I feel like this person might be kind of in their last little bit. And of course, I didn't say that in the reading because I don't think that that would freak someone out. I don't know how helpful that would be. And I didn't have enough confidence in my own feeling to verbalize that. So I think what I did is I encouraged them to stop putting off the things that are really important for them. So to kind of like live this year as if it's your last and really like prioritize the things that are important to you and focus on tying up loose ends. And I don't know if that person passed or not because I never did a reading for them again. And that was quite a while ago now. That was several years ago. That's the only time. That's the one thing that like stands out in my mind, and I often think of that reading. I'm like, I wonder what happened with that person. I wonder if they're okay or what happened. Um, yeah. Okay. Okay, so a couple people asking for me to pull a card. So I'm not doing readings this is just Q&A. So I'm not actually going to be pulling cards. I'm not going to be doing readings. I will be doing a live event like that at some point soon, hopefully, but this isn't it. And I know I didn't make that clear at the start, so that's totally okay. But just to clarify. Okay, just reading some of the comments that I missed earlier. Oh, wow. So Zion, you said Virgo sun, you're a Virgo sun, Libra rising, and Libra moon. I am also a Libra moon. I'm a Virgo sun and a Libra moon, and I can't remember what my rising sign is. I'll have to look at my chart. Oh, I like this question. Meredith, will you be offering a course through Ethany's Summer Academy? Yes, I will. Yep. So Ethany Dawn is going to be doing her Tarot Summer School again this year, and I will be offering a course. And my course, I don't know if I can talk about it yet. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I won't announce the name of it just yet, but I'm really excited about it, and I'm in the process of creating that new course. So yes, I will be offering a course. Okay. I am struggling with timing in tarot. Any tips on that? Yes. So timing is tricky with tarot. This is something I am not good at. I am notoriously bad at this. So when you're doing a reading and you're trying to figure out a time frame for something, like how long until I manifest this thing, or when is this going to happen, or when is that going to happen? There's certain things you can look for. So one technique that admittedly I haven't had much luck with, but I'll share it anyway, is looking for the seasons in the cards. So looking at the cards that appeared in the reading where you asked about timing, and what season does it look like on the card? Does it look like it's summer? Does it look like it's spring or winter or whatever? So that's one thing. You can look at the number on the card. And if you ask something really specific, like how many months until this happens, you can pay attention to the numbers on the card. What I find with timing, though, and why I feel like it doesn't work that well in tarot, is quite often with timing, it's like you're here and this event that you're hoping is going to happen or might happen is over here. And then there's things that need to happen in between that before this thing can happen. So I'll just give like a specific example. Let's say you're trying to manifest a relationship. You want a partner and you're single and you want a partner, and you're asking the cards, when am I going to meet the right person? So there may be certain things that you need to do that needs to happen before you can meet this person. And so it's not a matter of like, well, you're going to meet this person in 2 months or 2 years. It's like, you need to do these things first before meeting this person. And so that's why I think timing doesn't really work great with tarot. So usually if I have a timing question myself, I will kind of rephrase it in my head. And instead of asking the cards, when is this going to happen? Or how long am I going to have to wait? I'll ask my cards, what do I need to do to speed this up? Or What do I need to be focusing on to get to here, to where I want to go? What do I have to do? What do I have to focus on to get to here? And then I get some really interesting information and advice by doing that, by just kind of tweaking the question a little bit. All right. Oh, Katie, you said you love Tarot Summer School. You highly recommend it. You did 2 summers of it. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Tarot Summer School is something that Ethany Dawn does. I don't think she does it every year because I don't think it happened last year. But she does it often, not every year, but almost every year. And what it is it's a bunch of different tarot teachers. We get together. Everyone creates their own like mini course. And you can sign up for Tarot Summer School so you get all the courses, or you can just choose 1 course or 2 courses to do. It's very affordable. It's a lot of fun. And I believe there's like Tarot Summer School campfire calls where a bunch of teachers will all be on the call and you can ask us questions. It's really, really fun. I really like taking part in it. And yeah, and you get lifetime access to the courses as well. And I've done it twice in the past, and I'm excited to do it again. Okay, I like this question. Maria, you're like, I would like to know if you're working on your tarot deck. No, I'm not working on my tarot deck. I have so many projects I want to do. I would love to at some point create a tarot deck or an oracle deck or something. And I started doing it, and every now and then I'll kind of dip back into that. I haven't for a while though. So I'm currently not creating a tarot deck. I also want to write a tarot book, and I recently had an idea. And so I think I might run with that idea. But again, I haven't started it yet. So I have lots of ideas for different courses. This is my problem, is I get all these ideas for courses I want to create, journals, ebooks, planners, tarot decks, books, and I just have to get organized in order to make it happen. I get overwhelmed sometimes with all the different ideas I have. Do you have any music that inspires you to read tarot or that you think is good to connect with decks? Yeah, actually, I have some Spotify playlists, and I'm just trying to think, how do I don't want to open Spotify because I feel like it might screw up my live stream. Whenever I try to open Spotify on my desktop, it never works properly. I do have a few playlists on Spotify that I like to listen to. So if you want to message me through my website, I can send you the link, but I don't have it ready right now. But generally speaking, music, I'll share some like artists that I really like to have on in the background when I'm reading tarot. So I really like, there's a company called Solitudes. If you're on Spotify or even YouTube, you could just probably type it in. Solitudes by Dan Gibson, I think is his name. And it's really good, just kind of relaxation music. I also like Jonathan Goldman. He does some really interesting stuff. I wish I had my tablet here and I'd look at my Spotify and I'd tell you some of the artists. I'm like at a loss for words because I have a lot of music that I like to listen to. Yeah. Okay. Well, those were a couple. But yeah, I do like to listen to music in the background when I'm doing tarot. There's another group called Prana, and they do like humming and chanting. I really like their music. It's very haunting and very beautiful. I really like them. Okay. Gary, I enjoy seeing your cat friends on your reading videos. So I just adopted a 3rd cat. And it's a cat that I've been fostering for 3 years. And I don't show her, I don't know if I've ever showed her in my reading videos before. I might have, but she's shy and she doesn't come out in front of, she's very, very cuddly. She's cuddly and she's very physically affectionate with me. But when I'm working, when I'm creating videos, she goes and does her own thing. And she's not a ham like my other 2 cats. My other 2 cats are always like getting in front of my camera and interrupting videos constantly. it's the reason why I'm down in my downstairs room for this live stream, is because my cats will be crawling all over my laptop and knocking my microphone over and stuff like that. But yeah, I have a third cat now. Her name's Rhea. I call her Riri for short, and she's a black and white cat. She's very sweet. I'll post some pictures of her on my Facebook. I'll maybe try to feature her in my next reading video. Okay. Where are you from? I am Canadian. So I'm in Canada. I'm in British Columbia, Canada. So I have a Canadian accent. You're wondering where my accent is from. Oh, I like this question. How would you describe your spirituality? Pagan, New Age, Christian, etc. If pagan, then what kind of pagan? Okay, so I don't really, I wouldn't describe my spirituality in any particular way. I don't belong to any specific denomination or group or anything like that. So I can't really categorize my spirituality. I definitely would consider myself a spiritual person. I'm interested in spiritual topics. I'm open-minded. I've been reading a lot and studying Tantra for the last few years. And I would say that my spirituality is most closely aligned with a lot of the Tantric traditions. So that's probably the closest I can come to kind of describing what my beliefs are. And I don't really want to get into the specifics of that, but definitely read up on Tantra. And I'm not referring to tantric sex. That's like that's kind of an offshoot of Tantra. I'm talking about Tantra as a spiritual practice. That's the spiritual practice that most closely aligns with kind of my beliefs about things. I've definitely dabbled in witchcraft and paganism and stuff like that over the years. I've explored a lot of that and different new agey things and stuff like that. And I've just never found like one thing that I felt like I wanted to like really get into. I feel like anytime I got into things, I would feel kind of limited by it. So yeah, I'm kind of footloose and fancy free when it comes to spirituality. Jess, you recommend the Haunted Cat Tarot. Ooh, I don't think I've heard of that cat deck yet. Oh, I'm going to put this on the screen. This is really nice. Thank you, Maria. You said a tarot book by you would be really good. You're good at dissecting and explaining concepts. Please write it. Okay. That's all the encouragement I need, Maria. I'm going to start my book today. Thank you for your encouragement. Oh, and Katie, you said, please write a book. Okay, I will. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions here. Wow. I think, unless I missed one. Okay, I'm going to share this. Katie, you said, okay, you're referring to Tarot Summer School. It's great because you get lifetime access to the courses. Yes. Also, if you sign up for any of my courses or workshops, you also get lifetime access as well to my courses. Oh, okay. I want to talk about this. So, Scott, I know you asked a previous question about whether or not I get emotionally drained when I give readings. So you said that you usually only do lives and the videos drain you. You like the interaction. Okay, I want to talk about this a little bit. Yeah, so sometimes when I do lives, like I will do live reading events on my channel where I'll pull cards for people. And I find that it can go either way. So sometimes I will do an hour and a half live where I'm, reading for people. And I come off of that live feeling so energized, like really pumped up, and I have so much energy for the rest of the day. And other times I come off the live and I feel drained. I'm like, oh, I need to like lie down. I need to like put my feet up and need a drink now. and I don't know why. Like sometimes it goes either way. Sometimes it can be really energizing and other times it can be kind of exhausting. I find if I'm a little tired beforehand, then doing readings for people will usually just make me more tired. But if I come in feeling, pumped up, excited, with lots of energy, sometimes doing readings makes me feel even more energized. So I can kind of relate to that feeling, Scott, of doing, lives on your channel and feeling kind of drained. I think doing lives though, like you're basically entertaining people, and being in that role as entertainer can be exhausting. It can be draining. All right, so I think I've answered like all the questions. I don't know if I missed any. If you asked a question I didn't answer it, please feel free to type it again, because I'm not ignoring any questions here. I think I've answered all of them. Yeah, so if anyone here has any other questions for me, please type it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll log off. I've loved all the questions. There's so many different ones. While I'm waiting for more questions to come in, if you have more, I'm just gonna take this opportunity to promote my upcoming courses. So I have 2 classes coming up. I have a free workshop and I have a paid 4-week, month-long course. So I'll talk about the free workshop first. It's called 3 Secrets to Tarot Confidence. And I'm going to be sharing my 3 tips for immediately increasing your confidence. So this is for people who are new to tarot, and also if you've got tons of experience. So it's open level. Regardless of how much experience you have with tarot reading, you're going to find, I'm sounding overly confident here. You're going to find my workshop helpful, but truly you will. So I'm going to give you my kind of 3 favorite methods or techniques for instantly increasing your confidence level while you're giving a reading. Now I'm going to put I'm going to put the link in the chat here if you want to sign up. Okay, so that's free workshop. It happens Tuesday. I'm going to teach it on Zoom. There will be a replay, so if you can't be there live, you'll get the replay. And then I'm also doing my 4-week tarot course, which is called Reading Tarot for Others. And I'm so excited to teach that course. I'm going to put the link in the chat as well. And if you're watching the replay of this video, I'll put it in the comment section below. So my 4-week course starts May 3rd, so next Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're interested, click on that link and it gives you all the info, more info than you could possibly need or want about the course. Okay, so Maria, you said, well, I feel you mocked me. So next step, friends. I don't know if did I mock you? What did I say? I'm going over what I just said. I don't think I was mocking you. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what you're referring to. I would never mock you, Maria. Okay. Elena. Sorry, I joined the live stream late, but how do you deal with the fear of giving a wrong prediction? This is a good question. Okay. My predictions have been surprisingly accurate, but every time I'm terrified about disappointing people. So I don't really do predictions in my readings. I think of my readings as being more like if people are asking about the future, if I'm going into the future with the readings, I see it as more of like a weather forecast. Weather forecasts are notoriously unpredictable because you're forecasting something, but things can change between then. So it's not super accurate. So I would say, I think if you let people know, like if you're a predictive reader and you like to do predictions, I think prefacing that by letting people know, I'm going to say predictions in this reading, but think of it like a weather forecast. It may not be accurate. It might only be 50% accurate. That kind of takes the pressure off you. So I don't focus my readings on predictions. I like to look at what's going on right now. What can this person do right now? I focus it on that. But sometimes people ask about future things, and sometimes it's just impossible not to kind of go into the future a little bit when you're doing a reading. But I always kind of treat it like a weather forecast, right? It's like, this might be really accurate, but it also might not be super accurate. So don't make important decisions based on this. So that's what I do. And then I think if you treat it that way and you will eliminate a lot of the stress and anxiety around, making predictions. Okay. Um, so Maria, you said it was just this is all the encouragement I need. No, you know what? This is so funny, Maria. So um honestly, like sometimes this is embarrassing to admit, but sometimes like when you get like one I've heard authors talk about this where they'll write a book that's a bestseller and like millions of people will buy it and one person will write a shitty review on Amazon and it will like ruin their day and they'll be like, why am I getting upset about one person saying something bad about my book when like a million people said good things? I am the opposite. If one person encourages me to do something like you were encouraging me to write a book, it's like I'm like I get so excited and it's like I just need one person to encourage me. That's all I need to like motivate me sometimes. Okay. How do you interpret the sun card in communication? Okay, I don't know the specifics of this, so I'm just going to kind of make some assumptions based on your question. If I was reading the sun card through the lens of communication, it would be about communicating positively. So let's say you have to communicate something to someone. How can you do it in the most positive way? Like, can you start with a compliment? And then let's say you have to communicate something negative. Let's say your partner is pissing you off and they're putting the cutlery in upside down into the dishwasher and you're just on your last nerve and you have to communicate this to them. This is a real life example from my own life because my husband always puts things in the dishwasher in like the weirdest way. So you start by giving a compliment by saying, "Oh, I love the fact that you put things in the dishwasher." And then you're like, "But I noticed you put them in upside down." And then you like finish with something else positive. Like, "If you put them the right way, I would love you so much more," or something like that. So like the sun I think of as like how can you communicate something in the most positive and optimistic way? And also, if you have to communicate with someone, going into it from a place of optimism, which is what the sun card is all about. It's all about being optimistic and seeing the bright side of things. So, if you have to communicate with someone and it's going to be a difficult conversation, focusing on what you like about that person, looking at that person through those rosy colored glasses and focusing on feeling optimistic. And so then your words, your communications are going to come from that place of warm fuzzies and optimism, and we'll have a better chance of going over well. I don't know if that answers your question. Hopefully it does. Okay, so I'm going to take one more question and then I'm going to wrap things up. So, one more question. Um, well, actually, I'll talk about this and then I'll take one more question. So you gave me a little more info. You said I asked this question, will the communication happen? And this card came up. Yeah. So the sun, if you're asking like a yes no question, will this happen? You get the sun. I always see the sun as a yes card. The sun is like, yes, this is going to happen. So I feel like if I was doing this reading, will the communication happen? You get the sun. I feel like the answer is probably yes. Okay. Rocio, I have a hard time reading my husband. Any ideas? Yeah, you know what? I also can't read for my husband. I find that the closer someone is to me, the harder it is to read for them. Like reading for my mom, reading for my husband, reading for a super close friend. I really find that challenging. I really don't like doing it, honestly. It's not my favorite way to read. It's it's almost like the less I know someone, the easier it is to really be objective. And funnily enough, the easier it is to tap into my intuition and really give a better reading. the less I know about someone. The more I know about someone, the more I think I know about them, which is funny because, like, I think that we make assumptions based on our friends and family. We think we know everything there is to know about them, which is not true. But I notice myself making that assumption, and that gets in the way of doing a really good reading for someone. If you kind of assume you know who this person is, then you're going to be interpreting the cards through that lens, and it's going to be like a hindrance. It's going to block you. So, my advice would be don't read for your husband. If you find it really tricky, I would say either don't read for him, or what you could do is something called interactive tarot reading. Now, this is something that I teach in my 4-week course coming up, Reading Tarot for Others. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Okay, there we go. So I teach this in this course, but this is the gist of it. So with interactive tarot reading, you involve the other person in the reading. So what you could do is you could ask your husband to draw a card. If he wants a reading, if he's like, read for me, be like, okay, draw a card, or draw 3 cards or 10 cards or whatever. And then turn over the cards and have him look at the cards and say, what card are you drawn to? Which card stands out to you? And he might be like, oh, the Fool. And then you're like, okay, what is it about that card that draws you in? What do you notice when you look at that card? And he might say, oh, I notice that he's about to walk off a cliff. Or you might say, oh, I noticed the little dog or the sunshine or something like that. And then you can say, okay, what does that symbol mean to you? And he might say, oh, walking off the cliff means I'd better look out and I'd better be careful. Or the little dog is, companionship or something like that. And you can just explore the symbols on the cards that he's noticing and explore those kind of together and ask him questions about it. This is a very different way of reading, and it may not be as satisfying for the other person, but it's a fun way to kind of explore the cards together. And I find this technique is easier to do with people that you know really well. It's a different way of reading the cards. So that's my idea, is to incorporate those interactive readings. And Rocio, I can't remember if you were in my Reading for Others course or not. I feel like you were in a couple of my courses, but I can't remember if that was one of them or not. Okay. Okay, last question, and then I'm going to sign off. Michael, you said, have you ever crossed paths with someone and felt like you understood something intimate about them without a word exchanged, or experienced those strange flashes of deja vu? Yes, I had a weird feeling of deja vu not too long ago. Now I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I get flashes of deja vu all the time. Have I ever crossed paths with someone and felt like I understood something in? Yes, I've definitely experienced this on many occasions, for sure. I had this feeling when I first met my husband in university. We've been together a really long time. And when I first met him, I'd had the feeling that I knew things about him before I even got to know him. But I've gotten that feeling many, many, many times. I feel like, Michael, you probably have as well. But yeah, I've definitely experienced that on many, many occasions. It's always kind of eerie, I think, when it happens. Okay, so that is my last question. So I just want to close this Q&A by saying thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I had so much fun answering your questions, giving you some of my answers. So I want to wish everyone all the best on your tarot journey. And yeah, thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Oh, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel because it really helps me out. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It was so nice to read all the comments and to connect with you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.